The other day, some friends of mine asked me about parental controls and the Mac. I went into a Mac store and I asked them, since I don't have any children, I asked them, what do you recommend? They said, we don't recommend anything. It comes with the OS. So they told me to take a look at the parental controls in the system preferences. And I came home and I did. I took a look at this. If you'll notice right down here toward the bottom, there's a yellow icon, parental controls. If you click on that, I created somebody named Ken Jr. who does not exist. Now, you'll notice I had to click on the unlock icon because these are protected areas of the system. Now I get all these controls. So if you look here, I can limit the applications that Ken Jr. can actually use. You'll notice down here you can scroll through every application that's installed on the system. In this case, I gave Ken Jr. access only to Safari and iTunes. Okay, so now in the web section, you have different choices, but I recommend starting with this one right here. Select this, allow access only to these websites. You have a few sample websites. You're probably aware of some others that you'd like to put in. In order to add to this section, you just click on the plus button. Now, here's an important part right here, logs. If you click on logs, you can see the sites that Junior has been going to, no problem. But you can also see the sites that Junior has been trying to go to. So right here, here's one, nastysite.com. Here's an instance where Junior was trying to go to a website that he probably should not have been. Okay, so that's important. You can also configure who Junior is allowed to communicate with the chat application and who Junior is allowed to send mail to. So again, you can go in there and you can add different people as needed, and Junior can come and ask you for that permission. This is important as well. Weekly time limits. Now, maybe you only want him to be able to use that computer 2 hours a day. You don't want his eyes turning into squares, right? So that's great. Maybe he's been really good, and to reward him, you've given him an additional hour a day. That's great. Here's another important part. Down here on school nights, Junior can log on. He can begin to use his computer in the morning, and he has to shut it off by 8 p.m. or it will shut him off. And there's one other important thing here. I highly recommend that you disable changing the password. This will prevent Junior from changing his own password. It locks it down a little tighter. So those are the important things. Now we're going to log on as Junior, and we're going to see what he can see. Okay, so now we're logged in as Ken Jr. You'll notice Ken Jr.'s dock has fewer programs that it can. We had to add this one so that we could actually record the show. But you'll notice he has the Finder. He has Safari. Here are the applications that he has access to. iTunes, but this is it. This is really all that he can run. Now let's go ahead and launch Safari and see what happens. Okay, right here are the websites that this kid can go to. Okay, you can go to Yahoo Kids. You can go to an educational site, and you can customize these the way we saw in the other link. Now, if he were to try to go to nastysite.com, which I'm sure exists out there. Oops, you can't see pages on this website. That's because you locked it down under your administrative login. So that should get you started with parental controls. I think you'll find it fairly easy to use.